In my opinion, the most important quality of a good video is the audio. People will generally forgive you if you've got slightly shoddy image quality, but if your audio isn't on point, then people aren't going to stick around to hear what you have to say. So in this video, I want to give you 5 tips to level up your audio in a video. And these tips are based on my own experience. I did an interview with YouTuber Shelby Church recently, and so I did 3 things in particular that were really good in terms of the audio, and there were 2 things that I did as a mistake. So in total, there are 5 tips that I'm going to talk about, and there's one tip in particular that was super important because it ended up saving the audio in that video. So let me start by going over the scenario. So this was an interview style video. I was there as the interviewer, and then Shelby was there as my subject. And so for me, that was a little unusual because if I'm filming a YouTube video, typically it's just me talking to the camera like this, or perhaps Martin and I. And so it's low pressure because, you know, we're used to filming together. Or the other scenario that I usually film in is me filming someone else for like a client video. And so in that case, I'm behind the camera, and I get to monitor the audio in case something goes wrong. And so it was a little unusual for me to also be in the frame shooting with someone else, and in this scenario where I have to get everything right, because if I mess up, I can't go back and film with her again. And so it was really important to make sure that my audio was spot on. So the first audio tip that I have that I actually did correctly here was replacing the internal microphone of the camera. So most cameras, you know, they have really good built-in audio. You can usually get away with it and get pretty decent audio. But if you want to level up your audio quality, a quick and easy way to do that is to use an external microphone. And so I was using 2 different cameras here. One was the main angle of the 2 of us talking, and I also had a secondary camera filming the main angle of Shelby to cut in just to give the video a little bit more interest. And so on both cameras, I had external microphones attached. So the main camera had the DJI microphone, which is also what I'm using to film right now. We were each wearing the transmitter that had the built-in microphone, so it's kind of serving like a lavalier microphone to pick up our voices. And that was my main source of audio. The secondary camera had a Rode shotgun microphone on top of it to pick up some backup audio. And so my mind, I was thinking that I was going to use that audio mainly to help sync the second angle because I had those 2 different angles to film with. But the thing that I did wrong here, and this is a tip for the rest of you guys, is that if you are using a shotgun or directional microphone, then you want to make sure that it's as close to your subject as possible, because when it's further away, it will still pick up audio, but it won't be the best audio, especially if you're filming indoors. You're going to get a lot of echo.
That's a good tip. That's what I would do if I was starting out and I didn't have the money or want to spend the money quite yet.
So what I should have done is physically take the microphone off of the camera, not put it directly on the hot shoe mount, actually put it on something like a mini tripod or a boom arm, a light stand, and put it closer to myself and or Shelby. So I could have put it directly between us, maybe slightly overhead or slightly below us. Or we actually had a table that Shelby was using to pick up her cameras to demonstrate. I actually could have put the shotgun microphone on that table out of the camera frame, pointed at her, and that would have picked up much better audio. So that's something that I wish I had done, but doing that does require having a little bit of extra gear. You would have to have a secondary tripod or something to put that little microphone on, as well as an extension cable to plug it directly into your camera. And so those are super easy to do. I really wish that I had done that, but that was a mistake that I made when I was filming that video. So the third tip kind of plays off of my other tip of creating backup audio, but in particular, if you are using a microphone that is able to offer internal recording, then you want to enable that, because this is actually the tip that saved my interview video with Shelby. So I'm using the DJI microphone right now, and one of the things that I love about it, this one and actually the Rode Wireless Go 2, is that both of those wireless microphones offer internal recording. So if I want to, I can actually enable this transmitter to record not only to the camera, but also to record audio onto the transmitter. And so that's really helpful as backup, because what ended up happening with my interview with Shelby, it actually sounded pretty good in my opinion, up until the 16-minute mark. And at that point, Shelby actually got up to pull out a secondary microphone to talk about. And while she did that, her microphone on her collar actually flipped into her sweatshirt. And so the audio quality really went downhill from there. It was actually unusable on her end.
I think starting with an iPhone and just buying like this little DJI mic, or this other company just sent me one, I'll show you guys. It's pretty cool. Okay, let's see. Okay, this one.
How cute.
So this company just like randomly.
And so when I was editing that video, I just was horrified. I was like, oh no, like we've lost the last part of the video because the audio is just ruined. And so I spent about half a day just kind of sulking about it and thinking that it was so terrible. And then I realized that I had enabled onboard recording. And so I was able to take the onboard recording on my transmitter and actually save the last half of the video. It's not the best quality audio, but it's still there. Like you can hear the entire conversation. Because even though my microphone was primarily picking myself up, Shelby was close enough to me that I could still hear her in my microphone.
I think I'm just gonna start like bringing this with me everywhere.
Yeah, why not?
Because it's so little and the battery lasts a really long time, and the quality, it sounds so good. I almost prefer it to my vlog camera now.
And so that internal recording saved that video, and it can save future videos too. So if your microphone it offers internal onboard recording, then you definitely just want to leave it on all the time because you never know when you might need it. The fourth tip that I have for getting good audio for your videos is to test out your whole setup before you get to your video shoot. Now again, that's not always necessary if you're just filming casually or for yourself, but if you're ever shooting for a client or in a once-in-a-lifetime situation, then you definitely want to try out your camera gear, make sure that everything is working, make sure that everything is charged. You don't want to get to your set and realize that something is off and that, oh man, you might have to cancel your whole shoot or go back home because you forgot something in your kit. Like test everything out, pack your bag the night before, and just make sure that everything is going to run smoothly before you get to your video shoot. And so this is something that I actually did beforehand. I tested out the onboard recording feature, I tested out both microphones and the cameras, and so when I got to the video shoot, I could confidently set everything up and actually just have a side conversation with my subjects and not have to be laser focused on my camera gear. So it's something that can really help out your whole video shoot if you test everything out beforehand. But the last tip is something that I did not do very well, and that is testing out your whole camera setup when you're on set before you hit record. And so I think in my case it was nerves. Like I was a little nervous, I had everything set up, and so I did a little bit of testing, but honestly I should have done a little bit more testing to make sure that all of my cameras were working properly, because that's when I would have realized that maybe my secondary camera angle should have been a little bit closer to my subject, and that way I could have gotten slightly better backup audio. But you know, it wasn't the end of the world, but just something that I definitely need to work on in future videos. And hopefully for you guys, that's something that you can learn from, is test out your camera subject or test out your camera gear before you get to set, but also when you get on set, and just triple check everything to make sure that it's going to run smoothly. So anyway, I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Like I said before, I'm making this tip video not only for you to help you out in a future video shoot, but also for myself so that I remember these things when I go on video shoots in the future. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. If you want to check out that video that I did do at Shelby, then I'll leave a link in the description below. I'm hoping to do many more videos like that with other creators and artists out there where we can talk about their camera gear. So yeah, stay tuned if you want to hear more videos like that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.